Today I have predictions for you for 2023, Year of the Water Rabbit. We're going to go sign by sign and see what this compassionate and magical rabbit has in store for you. Hi everyone, I'm Donna Stellhorn, your practical astrologer, here to talk to you today about 2023 and the Year of the Water Rabbit. Now, this energy begins on the new moon around January 22nd, 2023. So January 22nd is the official day, although the new moon may occur on a different day depending on where you live. So if you want to know exactly when the energy shifts, look for the new moon. Otherwise, we are celebrating this on January 22nd, 2023. Welcome everyone. If you don't know me, I'm a professional astrologer. I've been one for more than 30 years. I write the weekly and monthly Chinese astrology columns for horoscope.com and astrology.com. I also write the annual Chinese astrology reports for astrology.com. I've written 18 books on astrology, Chinese astrology, feng shui, and space clearing. I also have a couple of video courses, one on reading the tarot, and the other is called Finding the Hidden Money in Your Chart. That one is based on Western astrology. Now, Chinese astrology, of course, is a big, complex system, and today we are only considering your annual sign, and we are looking at how your annual sign compares to the energy of the year. There's going to be timestamps and chapters so you can easily jump to your sign. If you don't know your Chinese astrology sign, you can send me your birth information and I will send you a copy of your chart. Okay, rat natives, you guys are doing a year where when we look at the rabbit, you guys share territory, you share resources, and so that leads to kind of a battle. Now, this means that, you're going head to head with the energy. Now, fortunately, of course, you are very fast moving, you are very determined, you are considered faster moving and more determined than most of the other signs, but especially more than rabbit. So as opportunities come up, you shouldn't have any trouble beelining to what you want, but just recognize there will be more opposition this year than you have felt in a couple of years. And that's okay. When you're receiving the opposition, you know you're heading in the right direction. The month where you may have your biggest challenges, but also your biggest opportunities, will be April. This is where the seeds that you have planted could manifest into something that is great for you. But if you haven't been working on what it is that you're trying to manifest, then you may find more opposition and more disruption during April. Now, when we look at love relationships for you, specifically new love, you have a lot of opportunities. They won't be present so much in the beginning of the year, but they will grow over time. So by the first quarter of the year, I think it's going to take about 3 months for you to get out of this kind of sluggish period, and then it will build and build. Now, you do show a lot of need for communication and maybe working through your friendships to find this new love. But the energy that we've got for you is quite harmonious. So again, this is very indicative of a rabbit year for you. This is where rat has to overcome an obstacle, and that obstacle for you for love is going to be taking place in the first 3 months of the year. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, there are some interesting challenges because while you're moving forward very fast as usual towards your goals, your partner may have additional obstacles in their life. So this is especially true if they're not born in a rat year. If they're born in a different year, they have their own set of challenges, but it's also possible that whatever they're going through causes some issues between the two of you. And so you have to stop every once in a while, be compassionate, be understanding about what they're going through. Because sometimes, rat, you can get very single-minded, moving so quickly on something, you may not notice who you're leaving behind. Now, when we look at friendships for you, of course, you're very good at making friends and finding new connections, and that's wonderful. It's necessary this time, we see, for you to slow down long enough to take the time to reconnect with friends you have from the past and also to establish those friendships that you are making this year. So you have all of this opportunity, all these people you've known from the past, but because you are in a more contentious year, perhaps you are not spending a lot of time thinking about them, wondering what they're up to, checking in with them, that sort of thing. So this is what the actual thing you need to do is to, make the phone call, send the text. You have to initiate those sort of actions, and then you have some really quality friendships and friendships that can be there for you in a time of need. But if you don't step up and do that this year, you may find that those connections kind of stretch out really thin, and even there may be some people who say, I haven't heard from you in a year, and so they're not as receptive to your approach. Now, when it comes to your business income and investment income, I'm going to sound like a little bit of a broken record. It's, again, slow down long enough so that you can make the deals, so that you can see when maybe a stock is moving in a different direction and you need to reallocate funds or you need to sell off some of your position. It is to stop long enough so that you can hear the messages of the universe on when to pivot in a business, when to call a customer, when to expand your product line. So everything is about taking care of the little details. And when you do, that's when the bigger opportunities come. Now, when it comes to money derived from your career, that would be like getting a paycheck. You do have some opportunities in the first half of the year for making more money, but you need to jump on this fairly quickly because towards the end of the year, there may be some tightening in your industry or in your company. There may be reasons that your boss says, no, you can't have more hours or more money or more commission. So you want to take care of anything like this towards the beginning of the year, even as early as, right out of the gate, but especially about 3 months in. So by 3 to 6 months into this year, that's when you really want to go after the promotion, job changes, anything like that is designed to bump up your salary. And when you do that, you have some good results. But waiting towards the end of the year, you're only going to get a little bit. You're going to get some crumbs, and that's it. Okay, Ox Native, you guys are doing a very harmonious year. You may share the same territory with the rabbit, but you don't really compete for food. You don't mind that the rabbit is eating some because the rabbit can't eat so much that it takes away from you. And so therefore, the feeling that you have is that you can go for new opportunities if you want. You can also just settle back and have a very stable year if that's what you prefer. Now, there will be some new opportunities that do come in, but it will require you doing something new. And sometimes, Ox Native, you do tend to shy away from that. And that's not always a good thing because you can get stuck, just being in that same rut over and over again. So it would be good to consider some new opportunities. But if you prefer to just have kind of a peaceful year where you're cruising a little bit, this is the year for that. Now, when we do look at what time of year is going to be your most challenging, but also bring you the biggest opportunities, that's going to be October. So if you plant some seeds earlier in the year, that's when they're going to manifest in October. If you're trying just for stability and status quo, the most likely time of an upset is October. And so you may already have in mind what that could be, and so then you just prepare for it. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, there is a lot of really interesting and somewhat contentious energy that is coming in for you. Now, that means that the person that is approaching for your new love relationship may irritate you a little bit. It's almost like maybe they're too enthusiastic. They maybe are calling you too often and you're trying to slow things down. But just recognize that this is the potential relationship that's there for you. And if you decide to pass on that, then another one will come up. But it's almost like someone has to kind of poke you a little bit to get your attention this year. And so you are not noticing the ones who are peaceful and calm and just walking beside you. You're noticing the ones who are like in your face, like, hey, how are you doing? And from that, that's where the slight irritation comes in, but that could lead to a actual love connection, and then the irritation goes away and it's just excitement. When it comes to your existing love relationships, okay, now I'm going to sound like a broken record. I see some irritations again, but this is a little bit different. Rather than someone being too enthusiastic, it is that you're just a little bit out of step with your partner this year, and that might be that your schedules are just slightly off, or you have some external things that are causing you both some irritation that you have to come together to solve. Now, the good news is that these problems are solved through actually being very slow and deliberate, and that is to look for the details and take care of those, look for the pennies, and then the dollars take care of themselves. That sort of method is going to serve you very well this year. So, and it's right in line with your wheelhouse. So I think that you will be able to tell your partner, okay, we just need to stop and take care of this agreement, or fix this flapping broken thing, or just doing the small thing, and then there's smoothness, then there's peace. When it comes to friendships, yeah, again, it's about the same. It is when you are taking the time to reach out to someone, see how they're doing. That's when that friendship gets strengthened. It's when you're willing to get up and get out of the house and go meet new people. That's when you establish new friendships. So you're having to do some sort of activity that may be a slight interruption on what it is you wanted to do that day, or that it just pulls you out of your comfort zone the tiniest bit. It's such a small amount. So that's where I think it's worth it, because you can establish some really nice friendships this year, but you have to take a little bit of action to initiate. Now, when it comes to your money, specifically money from investments or business income, this is your strongest area this year. This is where the biggest opportunities come in. You have one opportunity after another. You have high visibility this year. Your skills are in demand. Any new skills that you gain, maybe through education or getting a license or expanding your territory in your business, all of those could really pay off. But it's also about continuing to learn, and that might be learning about new investments and different ways that you can maximize the money that your money is making for you. So really strong energy. I think this is going to be one of your best financial years you've had in a while. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, that would be like a paycheck. It is slightly weaker. You still have a lot of power in this area, more than you have had in previous years, but it would be wise for you to start to make that transition into passive income sources, because that area is so strong for you. And that would be like investing in everything from like any types of investments you want to investigate and see if they're right for you. Now, when it comes to asking for a raise, timing is going to be a lot of this. And so you'll need to use your intuition about, how your company is doing, what mood your boss is in. And so it may take you actually a couple of weeks to broach the subject with the boss. But I think your supervisor will give you some sort of hint. They'll tell you you're doing a good job, or you get some sort of notice from a customer that you were amazing. That's the thing that you're going to parlay to make this happen. You could also change jobs to get more money, although it's interesting because I do see that you're really valuing stability this year, so you don't have to make a job change if you don't want to. Okay, Tiger Native, in a rabbit year, well, I don't want to get too graphic, but there's plenty to snack on. So this means that you have many little opportunities. Now, can any of these single opportunities satisfy your cravings for success and power? That is where the question is. You may have to do many different things, really diversify how you're making your money, have many friends, do many social things, do many different activities to really feel satisfied, because this is a much quieter year. Now, you had so much excitement last year, you might be welcoming the nap time. But for the most part, as you get into this year, you're going to find that, people offer you little things. They, like, oh, let's go to, the movies. And when you're saying, I want to go to Europe, or, they might say, hey, we'll give you a 2% raise increase when you were expecting 10%. And so this is where diversification is going to be very important. Diversification of investments as well as friendships, connections, etc. Always have multiple things you're working on, and that's where the success comes in. Now, your biggest challenges and your biggest opportunities aren't coming to clear out until December. And so that's when, if you've planted seeds during the year, you will get major opportunities. If you have not planted seeds, then what happens is that the universe may step in and do a course adjustment for you, and that is that, they may suggest that you change jobs by, having some cutbacks at work, or there may be something where you have to move. So you always want to plant seeds, and that is to tell the universe, like, I have opportunities, and that is knowing a lot of people, trying new things, and, working on your skills, etc. Those are the things that the universe looks for to bring you those new opportunities. Now, when it comes to new love relationships, you definitely have some very strong energy. It's really interesting because it's almost that type of energy where the two people in the movie, they banter back and forth. They might not like each other at the beginning because they're so attracted to each other. It's that sort of energy that we're looking at. This is not going to be an obvious match. This is going to be somebody who's different than you, or where the two of you have such strong personalities that you kind of come out swinging. So now this can make it very exciting. It really depends, the whole banter thing depends on whether it's done with the sense of humor, not personal attacks, but where it's done where, it's clever and interesting. That's a type of beginning of relationship that we see. You also do show that relationship could get quite serious quite quickly. And so you might go from, I don't know if I like you, to I really, really like you. So watch for a relationship that happens and matures very fast. Now, when it comes to your existing love relationship, it's time to work out some of the little details between the two of you. In general, you have some compatibility, but there are some small things that keep tripping you guys up. And that's the thing that you can work on this year. And that could be something as small as you don't like how each other loads the dishwasher, or that, that one of you gets up early and the other one doesn't. I don't know. It's a small thing. You know what it is. And when you ask yourself, what is a small thing that I wish my partner would change? That's the thing to work on. But you have to work on it first from your side and see if you can make an adjustment, and then they will magically change. And that's how this could work this year. So I do see, basically a lot of compatibility. Occasionally the two of you may get into some little irritated scrap, but most of that is because you're not taking care of the small things. Take care of the small things, and the big things will take care of themselves. Now, when it comes to friendships, you have really extraordinary energy. This is one of the strongest areas for you this year. And friendships can mean lots of connections, new friends, reconnecting with old friends. But the problem is you barely have time to do this. And that is, you are kind of running from person to person. So that's one of the issues, is like you have great friends and they may invite you to their villa in Spain, but you can't get the time off from work. So there is some challenges. The other challenge is that you may have friends who don't like each other. And so you may be trying to bridge the gap between these two people. Now, you are not naturally a person who is the peacemaker. You're more about territories and understanding boundaries. And so that's where you may be a little frustrated with your friends that they can't seem to get together. So, but overall, this is a strong area. Really good friendships can happen. New friends can happen who are very valuable in your life. And you'll have a few things that you can work out, but this is your strong area. Now, when it comes to business income and investments, it's going to be very important for you to slow down for a minute and take care of the small things. And specifically, these might be applications to get your brokerage account or to get your license, to take the time to review marketing materials before you send them out so you don't see the typo after it's all been released, or where you are taking the smaller steps to make sure that an investment is correct for you. Maybe even taking the time to look at your 401k and see if it's allocating properly. So this is what is your key to making more money. It is do the small steps, and then the big things take care of themselves. And so that is slow down long enough so you can see what's wrong. It might be something as small as, changing a supplier that suddenly gives you a much more profitable year because they saved you 5% or something. Or the same thing with your brokerage. Maybe you have a managed fund and that's costing you 3, 4, or 5% a year, and you could get an unmanaged fund and have the same performance without the charge. Now, you have some really interesting energy around money derived from career. That would be getting a raise. You do show the possibility of getting a raise, but it's less likely that you're initiating this, but more that you're noticing when your supervisor's kind of hinting and then jumping on it. So this is where you do want to move quite quickly and focus your energy on, as your boss says, hey, you've been getting some really good feedback from customers. Then you can say, yeah, and I probably deserve a raise. Even if you say it in this way, you are leading yourself towards that more money. So you do also show some possibilities of getting a new job. This could be within your current company, like a position opens up and you just slide into it, or a transfer to another department. Or if you're looking for a brand new job, that is also possible this year because we do see some movement in this area. Okay, Rabbit, this is your year. And that means that you are beginning your first year of your 3-year seed planting time. So now when it's your year, it's kind of a little bit of a mixed bag. Yes, you have many opportunities and lots of energy because the entire world is focused on your sign. That's fantastic. But it's kind of like being an experienced farmer, being dropped on a bare field with a bag of seeds, but you're already hungry. So you need to plant your seeds and tend those seeds and get them to grow to have the big harvest. This translates into doing lots and lots of new things. Now, you're quite peace-loving. You like to, basically stick with things that you know. And so this is something that can be a little bit of a challenge for you. Basically, if you will embrace the new, and as something passes out of your life, to just reach for something new, you will do just fine. You will have plenty of opportunities. It will be enjoyable. But if you're holding on to something from the past, and that can be anything from, like a traditional way of doing something to, an old job, an old boss, a friendship, a love relationship even, if that is leaving your life and you're gripping hold of it, you can find that to be very challenging for you because it's going to get harder and harder to hold on to it. Now, that doesn't mean that everything is passing out of your life. It means just that the things that are no longer serving you are leaving. And sometimes, a person can stay in a job that's actually not that beneficial for them, or they can even stay in a relationship that's not that helpful to their growth and happiness. And so that's where the universe is kind of going through and doing some house cleaning. Now, in general, a rabbit year is a much more quiet and peaceful year. It's a year where there's a lot of emphasis on home and family, and so nesting and the things that you like to do. So it is where people that you know become closer and more tight-knit. Your community draws together, and so those are good things. You already know how to do these things, and so you're in harmony with the energy. Now, your time of challenge and the biggest opportunities will be coming in April. That is where, if you have been planting seeds and trying out new things, that's where the opportunities will show up. And that can be anything from new love to new job, etc. You have opportunities during the other months, but this is a focal point for the year. But if you have not been planting seeds, this is where the universe may step in to help you adjust your course. And so that is, the universe may step in and remove something from your life that you thought you needed, but you really don't. And so that's, again, April. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, you have some of the strongest energy in this area. That is, you really have an opportunity to meet someone new and make a connection. This is a year where people want a connection. They want to have a home to go to. They want to have that closeness with somebody. You already inherently understand that energy, and so this is perfect. It's just like everything's coming together for you on this. So you want to take the steps necessary to get out into the world to meet someone, whether that is through online dating, a matchmaker, or getting your friends and family to fix you up. You want to actively pursue that because this year you can find love. Now, when it comes to your existing love relationship, it's interesting because majority of the time you're getting along great. The thing that is tripping you up is something that is so minor, and it's just a little nitpicking thing, but it's growing in irritation for you. And then, like somebody who pops their gum or something, and you hear it at first and you go, oh, I wish they wouldn't do that. And then by the end of the period, you're like, I can't take it anymore. So look for those little tiny things that you need to nip in the bud, that your partner, doesn't throw their laundry in the basket, but it's only like basket adjacent, like it's next to the basket. And if that starts to drive you nuts, that can be a real point of contention. Otherwise, you do show a pretty harmonious year where there is an intimate connection between the two of you, where you're strengthening the relationship. Just watch out for the little things. Those details are what could trip you up. Now, when it comes to friendships are there, but it's not your strongest area because you're very focused on people you already know, which, yes, could be friends, but mostly family. And so anybody who you feel is already, within your community, that's who you're focused on. So you're going to have to make more of an effort if you want to expand that group. You may feel very territorial. That's not really the word. You might just feel a little nervous about strangers in general. And so this is a time where you'd want to meet friends of friends. That's a way for you to expand your circle. But again, we're showing that in your chart, this is where you need to put in some effort if you want good results. Now, when it comes to money derived from business or from investments, you have a lot of activity here. You're showing stronger profits and abilities in the first half of the year. As you get to the second half of the year, it's feeling a little tighter. This may be due to some cash flow issues. Perhaps you are expanding your business, or maybe you are in a buy and hold situation in investments, and so you're just waiting out the gyrations of the market. There is some possibilities too for some expansion. Again, this is in the beginning of the year, but for the most part, you're just humming along, you're making profits, and you are making at least what you made last year. I think you could make slightly more, but towards the end of the year, there may be some things that eat up your profits. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, it's a little hit or miss because you may be in an industry that does well at certain times of the year, or maybe going through some sort of contraction. It's possible that your business is having a big outgo of money for something, and so they don't have as much for employees. So if you are wanting a raise, you probably want to do that within the first 3 months of the year, because after that, I think that there's going to be this feeling like there's not enough resources for that. Now, there is very strong energy for you changing jobs this year. In fact, that's your way to make more money, to get a better position, is to actually leave your company and go on to something else. It's possible you might just transfer departments within your company if your company's large enough, but even that's not going to bring you the results you'll have by just leaving the company entirely. And if you're choosing to change careers entirely, that also has some positive energy. Okay, Dragon, you have some interesting energy in the upcoming rabbit year. First of all, of course, this is going to be the last year of your 12-year cycle because your big year is going to be in 2024. That means you are coming to the very end of a lot of the projects you've been working on, and you spend this time usually letting go of what's no longer working for you and holding on to the things that you want to take into your new cycle. But specifically when it comes into this rabbit year, what's interesting is that, because you are represented by an animal that can be on land, it can be in the ocean, can be in the sky, you don't necessarily pay a lot of attention to the little tiny rabbit on the ground. And so this can make you a little bit disengaged. And that means that some of the opportunities that are going to be very down to earth, very much about home and family and, your community, you may miss some of those opportunities because you're not paying attention. And so what do you do about this? You focus on your goals, but you every once in a while check in to make sure that you are connecting with friends and family, that you're connecting with your community, that you are grounded. So you're going to find that letting go is your best way of allowing new things to come into your life. Your month of the biggest obstacles and the biggest opportunities is going to be April. And that is when, if you have set things up and you're focused on your goals, where you're going to find that some big, big opportunities come in. If you are not heading the right direction, then the universe may nudge you in the correct direction, or a better direction, I should say, for you to achieve your goals. Now, when it comes to a love relationship, specifically new love, you have lots and lots of opportunities this year. You have a choice of many different people. I mean, not just one or two. The more you put yourself out there, the more individuals you're going to meet. But the thing is about this year is that you need to initiate the action. That means you need to step outside the door. It's not like people are pounding down your door. And so that is to put up your profile or tell friends and family that you're looking to meet someone, and to take those steps to, get the date set up and all that. As you take the first steps, then things happen in your favor. And so new love opportunities are very strong this year. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, there's an awful lot of energy going on, and that means that you are working out things that may have been points of contention in the past. It comes to a point in the year where you're deciding whether you really want to work at this relationship, whether both sides are taking responsibilities for their own actions, and whether you are trying to find a solution, or if you're going to say, well, that's it. I'm going to, move on. Because this is your year for letting go of things that don't work for you, your relationship could fall in this category. But you do have a big opportunity to make it work because you have an enormous amount of energy in that area this year. And so that means that if you are willing to put in the effort, you can not only keep your love relationship, but you can really strengthen it. Now, when it comes to friendships, you also, again, you have a lot of energy happening here. Now, the places where you're going to be meeting friends is in your daily routines. That probably is the gym, or where you go to a certain pub at night, or you lunch in a certain place, or you get coffee in a certain place. Also coworkers, if you are not working at home, if you are working in an office or in a store, you have more opportunities to create friendships. There is also some groups and organizations you could belong to that will expand your circle of friends. So you have all of that. It's all a little bit disjointed for you, and that means, again, that you have to kind of step up and make that initial contact to create something happening. So because I think it's a little unusual for you that we don't see people really pursuing you, dragging you generally get pursued. But in this year, it's the energy is rather distracted and turned away from you. And that's why you needed to make the first gesture, and then things happen. Now, when it comes to traditional investments or money from your business, you show to be working quite hard. That means that you are building your infrastructure, you're really understanding what you're doing, you're planting a lot of the important seeds that will bring prosperity in a few years. And so this is one of those years where you're building your team, where you are meeting maybe the great broker or the financial planner, where you are finding coworkers, well, not so much coworkers, but employees to help you build your business, or you're finding platforms to work with, different ways to market your business. So this is a kind of nose to the grindstone sort of year. You do show consistent money coming in, but where the challenge is to bump it up. That's going to take the extra effort. Now, you do have such a strong house of bringing in people who can help you. That is collaborators, mentors, etc. This is one of your fortes anyway. So giving yourself some time to work on those connections and those relationships would be very important. So I do see consistent income. I think that the challenge for you is to find ways to bump it up by making your business or your investments more productive. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, it's a much better story. You do show sizable increases are possible. This may mean working more hours, but also getting a bigger territory, getting a bigger team, finding people who are going to really help you out, not just, kind of lip service, but really people who are thinking about what you need even when they're not at work. So this is the type of strong team that you could build. And so raises, promotions, jumping to a new job to get more money, this is all quite possible in 2023. Okay, Snake, you are going into this rabbit year not really bothered by the rabbit at all. Even though you may share territory, you don't really compete for food, and you kind of just ignore the rabbit. The rabbit's not a threat to you. And so you are, finding that you're focused on your goals, you're not really distracted by what's going on in the world. You are just moving forward on the things that you want. Now, you are highly intuitive, and this is going to be a very intuitive year. And so you'll be picking up a lot of vibrations and feeling kind of the waves of different energy that the masses are doing. And that is something to pay attention to, because sometimes you can get caught up in other people's negativity or their scarcity mindset when that's actually not going to be your future. So that's the only thing to be aware of, is that sometimes you're picking up other people's stuff, and you need to recognize which are the intuitive messages that you need to be paying attention to, and which is just the background noise from a lot of negative voices around you. Now, where we show your biggest challenges, but also the biggest opportunities coming in, is late August and early September. So the second half of August, the first half of September, that's your big time. That means that if you have set things in motion, that's when things kind of culminate. And so, like job changes or moves or things like that. If you are not paying attention to the opportunities, if you're ignoring the messages of the universe, then that's when you get a little nudge, and that's where something you think you want might be blocked. And so the universe is creating a detour for you, trying to get you to go in a different direction. Now, when it comes to love relationships, and specifically new love, you have some really good energy this time, but it's interesting because the person who's getting your attention seems to be the one that is kind of noticeable, a little bit in your face. And so this is not necessarily the type of person you have dated in the past. You may be more used to someone who is very impressed with what you do and, very attracted to you. And this year, you more have someone who is saying maybe even no to you, but kind of saying yes at the same time. And so a little game is ensuing. So sometimes these types of games can be fun and just build that sexual tension between the two of you. At sometimes you'll think you're not going to play, and so then you push this person away, and then they come towards you. So I do see quite a bit of activity here. It just feels a little bit different than it has been in the past. There is a little bit more banter that's going on, a little bit more, kind of pushing each other to see what's going on. Not some sort of little fairy tale, oh, kiss, done, it's a little bit more like a modern romance. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, you guys are getting along pretty well, but you do want to add a little bit more romance. You're quite focused on, daily routines, health routines, getting work done, that you might be ignoring each other a little bit. So the energy is there to connect and treat each other and have that sort of loving relationship. But again, it's easy for you to be so focused on your goals that you are not noticing that they're saying, hey, I need some attention. So you might have to put it in your schedule. Now, one of the more challenging energies for you this time is friendships. And unless the friends are based in work that you do or where you work out, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to go meet new friends because you are not seemingly spending as much time out in the world, or maybe an organization you belong to doesn't exist anymore, or you don't belong anymore, but you don't feel like you are reaching out and connecting as much. And again, you're quite focused on your goals. You're not maybe so distracted by the sentimental side of the rabbit year. And so if you want to expand your circle of friends, the most likely place is going to be through your work or where you work out. Now, when it comes to money from traditional investments or money from your business, you have some big opportunities. It's going to take some work, some actual sitting down and getting it done to get that opportunity secured. In other words, this isn't somebody who's just walking in and buying your merchandise. They are buying your merchandise, but they want it delivered and they want it packaged a certain way and they want to have some payment terms. So there is extra effort to make the money. Now, is there profits? Absolutely. You do show the strong ability to make the profits, but that is, it's going to disappear if you don't put in the effort to secure each person. And so that is, again, if this is your goal, you're going to do fine. But if this is something that you consider a distraction of having to, deliver something at a certain time or to review your investments to make sure that they're correct, if you're not spending the time, then your gains are pretty flat. Now, when it comes to money derived from your career, so like getting a paycheck, your easiest way to make more money is to do a job change. And you do show a lot of change energy in your job, which means that either the company you work for is going through a change like a merger, or they're, changing how departments are structured or things like that, and therefore your job changes, or you're actually changing companies. And so this is your easiest way to get more money. You do show to be working quite a lot, especially towards the second half of the year. So you do want to make sure that you're maximizing the amount of money that you can make. It also does say that you're working around a big variety of people, some of whom you like a lot, some of whom can be challenging. And so this can also cause you to say, you know what, I might look outward and see if I can make a change. So changing jobs is the best way for you to make money. You can stay where you're at, but it's going to be challenging to make more money if you don't make a change, some sort of change in your job. Okay, Horse, 2023 is shaping up to be a year where you have opportunities, where you can connect with some really interesting people, and there are some financial things coming up. And so when we look at rabbit energy in general, you and the rabbit can share the same territory. You don't really compete for food. You might eat some of the same things, but the rabbit's not going to eat so much that you feel threatened. And so that means that you have quite a bit of harmony this year with the energy of the year. And And so that means that the opportunities that people are looking for, who they're looking for a partner, who they're looking for an employee, who they want to do business with, that is in harmony with who you are. So very good energy for you, especially if you're willing to take that step forward to initiate something. Now, if you plant good seeds, your strongest opportunities will come in October. If you are not on track, if you are just kind of cruising, then your biggest challenges will come in October. And that is the universe will step in to help you course correct by blocking something that you want, making you having to do some sort of detour. So it's a good idea to be very clear on your goals by the time you get to October, because then the opportunity you've been looking for will present itself. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, you have a lot of energy in this area. And it's easier during the first half of the year than the second half of the year. For the second half of the year, there is much more effort that you need to put in, possibly because you have exhausted the people that were coming to you and maybe not finding what you wanted. And so if you're not connecting with somebody in the first half of the year, then you need to look at, how you're meeting somebody, what is causing you to turn down these various people. What is the thing that you're looking for that you're not seeing? So in general, this looks like really good pickings at the beginning of the year, kind of tapering off towards the middle of the year. And then as you get towards the end of the year, you're going to have to put in more effort. That might mean a matchmaker, or going out with the blind dates that your friends want to set you up on, or redoing your online profile, or moving it to a different platform. All of that sort of thing to get new love relationship going. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, the energy is pretty steady. It's not very changeable. Like you're coming together, and when you agree on things, when you work as a team, you have more luck. It looks like most of the time you are coming together for a common goal, but watch out for those times, especially if they extend, when you're busy doing your thing, your partner's busy doing their thing, and you're not even talking about it. That's where you're missing opportunities to help each other and to strengthen the relationship. So in general, this is going to be a pretty peaceful year when it comes to existing love relationships. Now, when it comes to friendships, you have the opportunity to meet quite a few people. It's going to narrow down to just a select few who become friends. And so you do want to expand your search and go out and meet lots and lots of people. Like if you met 100 people, you might find one or two that you're going to have coffee with, and then maybe one of those becomes somebody that you see on a regular basis. So you have to meet a lot of people, but you can distill it down into some true friends. Now, the friends that you do have and the ones that you do find this year are going to become very close, where you get to help each other, where, someone has your back, where, you're ready to drop something to help them. So that energy is quite good. That's good for you, horse, in general. You do well when you have, like a herd. So you do well when you have people around you. Now, when it comes to traditional investments or money from your business, you do show an increase over the course of 2023. It's not huge. It is incremental. And so that means, the first month's a little better, the second month's a little better. And so by the time you get to the end of the year, it's pretty solid. Now, that's all predicated on this idea of taking care of the details. That is looking at systems and seeing what you can tweak to make it just a little bit more productive. Like shaving off some time that it takes you to send out a product, or finding a system that you can do your stock picking a little bit more efficiently, or finding that you get a little bit more money into your investments, etc. So it is very incremental. Look at tiny habits, or look at atomic habits to move this forward. But that's why you're making more money this year, is because you're doing it incrementally. Now, when it comes to money derived from your career, so like a paycheck, that energy is extremely strong. You have a very likely ability to make more money in your job. That may be something where it is some federal mandate that bumps up your wage, or you are getting a promotion, you're changing companies, but you have a very likelihood of making substantially more in your job from beginning of the year to the end of the year. So this is one of your powerhouse areas. This is where you want to put your attention, set your goals, make sure you have a resume ready just in case a great opportunity comes along, and be ready for a talk with your boss about getting a raise. Okay, Goat, you guys are going into this year of the rabbit in a really good way. And that is that you and the rabbit, you might share territory, but you don't really compete for food. You don't fight with each other. So you really can live in harmony. And this means that you're going to feel very much in harmony with the energy of the year. That means you can sense the flow of things, you know when to move forward, when to hold back, and you will be able to see opportunities coming from quite a distance. And so that'll give you time to prepare. So besides the many opportunities that are coming up, you also do have more of a sense of peace this year than you have in some time. Now, the month that we see where you're going to get the most opportunities or the biggest challenges is May. And so the opportunities come when you are very clear about your goals, when you are actively looking for something. But if the universe feels that you're off track, that's where you get the most nudges from the universe, where you get a little course correction, and that's usually in the form of something being blocked that you thought you wanted. That could also come in May. And so it is, if you're focused on your goals, you are going to ride the wave. If you are not focused on your goals and you're just kind of wandering, you're likely to be hit by the wave. That takes place in May. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, you have a lot of opportunities this year, more so than you've had in a while. And the only challenge for you is just to get out of the house and meet some people. This is that people are coming to you, you are going to them. And so if you can just find something that you do outside the home that you enjoy, such as, walking in the neighborhood, even going to the dog park, paying attention to community activities and getting involved, that's going to help you meet somebody new. And so this is not necessarily some sort of long distance relationship. This is someone who lives fairly close to you and you connect with. So very good energy for new love. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, you have energy there that is a little bit on the slightly irritating side. Now, I don't want to say that this is going to be a huge problem. This is that the little things annoy you this year. And that is, maybe instead of throwing their stuff in the laundry basket, they miss the laundry basket. And then you have to reach down and pick it up and put it in the laundry basket. And you can let little things like that blow up and create big problems. Or you can sit down and say, hey, I really wish you would hit the laundry basket. And maybe they'll say they need a laundry basket that doesn't have a lid or something like that. So you have to find some sort of little compromise. And when you do, your relationship gets better. So this is going to be a year of finding the little things that annoy you and that annoy them and working those out. And when you do, things are good. Now, when it comes to friendships, you have kind of that same issue that you have with new love, and that is you don't really seem like you're getting out of the house much. And that's very consistent with the energy because rabbit energy is very home-oriented. And so as people are starting to work more back in the office, they're really gripping and saying, I don't want to leave the house. There might have been tons of different things that you used to do years ago, going out a lot, but now over the past couple of years, you've just gotten used to staying at home. And so this is the problem with meeting new people is they're not knocking on your door. So start with things in your neighborhoods, do things in your community, and expand your circle that way, or start meeting some of the friends of your friends. And that's a way for you to expand your friendship circle this year. Now, when it comes to traditional investments or money from your business, this is definitely your strongest area. You show the possibilities of making substantially more money over the course of 2023. And this comes from many different things, but mostly this is you're in harmony with the energies, you see the opportunities, and you're willing to take the steps necessary to secure the money. Now, this may be through your investments or through your own business. Maybe you're starting a business from scratch, and therefore you're starting to see, that burst of energy come forth where money is flowing in right away. So this is your strongest area. This is the area to pay attention to, especially if money is important to you, and because you show great success. Now, your second strongest area is money derived from career. That would be like a paycheck. So you do show great possibilities of getting benefits from your job. These could be in the form of getting a bigger paycheck, but also getting some perks. And that is if they are insisting that you work in the office, you can get more money, but they may also say, no, we'll be flexible. You only have to come into the office every once in a while, and therefore you get to have the benefits, and maybe they don't pay you as much money. So, but getting raises, getting promotions, getting what you want out of your job is very, very strong this year. Okay, Monkey, while this is a much better year than it was last year, there's still some challenges for you this year because the energy of Rabbit is so different than your own. And so no matter what you do, it seems very difficult to get that rabbit's attention. So this is that you're not so like completely different worlds because you can come down out of the tree and interact on the rabbit's level. But for the most part, you say, why bother? And that's the thing that's good about this year, and the thing that's also the challenge about this year, is in some ways you're not bothered by, all of the worry and the stress that the energy of Rabbit is going through. You believe in yourself, and so you can make things happen no matter what the economy is or people are saying. The downside here is that sometimes you're missing opportunities because you're not engaged, because you are disengaged. And so you hear about an opportunity after somebody else has taken the position or after somebody has started to date somebody else. And so that is to keep kind of an eye on what's going on in the world, but still remain a little bit, disengaged or separated is probably a better word from some of the noise and distractions that the 2023 can bring. So when we look at when you are receiving your biggest opportunities as well as potentially the biggest challenges, that's going to be the month of December. That is a time where, and I should point out, and I don't know when you're watching this video, that's December 2023. This is a time where if you have been working on projects, setting goals, this is when you get the big opportunity. It is also, though, the possibility that if you have not been working on goals, if the universe feels like you're off track, this is where you get that nudge to get back on track. And that usually takes the form of something that you wanted being blocked. And so you don't get the job you thought you wanted. You don't get into a relationship with the person you were thinking of because the universe is saying, no, don't go this way. And so December 2023 is that month. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, you have a really, really good year ahead. You can meet new people, find somebody you're very interested in, establish a new relationship, get something really going. You meet this person probably through friends and family or within your community. This doesn't feel like it's a long distance situation. It feels like it's something closer to home. And so, but the opportunities keep coming. If you meet somebody and you feel like, this one's close, you can move on and somebody else will come up. You can keep doing this throughout the year until you find the person that you're truly excited about. There's also quite a bit of energy around existing love relationships, and this is that you can come together very, very powerfully to have a much better relationship. But when you do fight, it will be a doozy. And so you want to make sure that your relationship is strong enough in your love, in your devotion to each other, in that the fact that you take responsibility so that when you do have a disagreement, it doesn't take a brittle relationship and crumble it. You want to make sure that your relationship is strong by having open communication, by showing this devotion, by showing that you care about each other. So your potential to make this relationship great is very strong. But if there are a lot of cracks in your relationship, then this could be a challenging time. Now, when it comes to friendships, it's interesting because you do seem very focused on the friends you have already, but you don't seem to be expanding your friendship circle very much. And it's part of it is because you're busy with the people that you already know, and you're maybe tapping into some of that energy, rabbit energy more likes the familiar. And so you may be picking up some of that energy. Whereas normally, monkey, you like the adventure. You want to go out and meet new people. So but this is showing you to be a little bit insular, or that you have narrowed the focus to certain types of people, that like the same things you do, like the same sports teams you do, live in proximity, etc. So this is something that you can work on to change, but if you just let the energy unfold, this is, you have about the same amount of friends as before, and it's more of a challenge to meet new people. Now, when it comes to traditional investments or money from your business, your strongest ability to make money is when you handle the details. That is, there are little tiny things that you can do that will ratchet up your profits. Something like moving the buy now button on your website so that it's a little bit easier to find, or tweaking the wording of your marketing campaign, or shifting maybe how you interact with some employees and so they become more productive. The same thing with your investments. You may find investments that just help you move forward. Maybe they produce a little bit more dividends and you reinvest those dividends, or maybe you have a better broker and who is making better suggestions, or a better system that you're using. But look for incremental changes, and so we see a little bit of improvement each month, and that when you get to the end of the year, you see like, wow, that was a big improvement. Now, your strongest energy this year is money derived from career, and that is like getting a paycheck. This is where you really could make substantial gains. You can ask for more money. What I'm seeing likely is a promotion, either in your existing company or by moving to another company. You can get a better job, bigger team, more exposure to management, also more high-profile projects. And so this is where your strongest ability to make more money is. Okay, Rooster, this is your opposition year. This means that the opposite sign is the sign of the year. That's Rabbit. And so everyone in the world is turned away from you and focused on Rabbit. And this means that it takes you a little more effort to get attention, to get an email back, to get a call back, to get people to pay attention to you and help you with your goals. You have to kind of jump up and down a little bit more. You have to shout a little louder. And so that is the challenge for you. Additionally, when we think about Rabbit and Rooster, you guys can share a territory, but you are kind of eating each other's food. And so there's a little competition there for the actual jobs or relationships. So you're feeling kind of competitive. Now, fortunately, Rooster, you don't mind standing out. When we think of the rooster, you're on the top of the barn, and crowing and telling everybody, look at me. And so you are actually good at this. And so that's just what you need to do. You dress up and you say, this is what I've accomplished and this is what I want, and that will help you a great deal. Additionally, you want to be aware that you are going to be in head-to-head competitions for jobs or relationships and things like that, and you need to bring your game, because that's the thing that's going to help you a lot. Now, I will say, and this is something that a lot of the Chinese astrology books and things don't point out, but because you're halfway through your 12-year cycle, this is the first of your harvest years. So this, it sounds a little counterintuitive because it's a challenging year, but it's because harvests are challenging. It's because you have been working and planting seeds and then tending the seeds, and now all of the crops are ready, and you have to get in the field and you have to get all of that stuff, out of the field before it's eaten by the birds and the rabbits. And so this means that if you work hard, you have so much abundance of friendships, great relationships, as well as money. It is just getting in there and getting it done. So that's always the contrast when it's your opposition year. It's your first year of harvest. That means you are really working hard. When we look at your opportunities and challenges, your big month is going to be December 2023. That is when you're planting a lot of seeds and doing lots of things to bring in new opportunities. Most of those, the biggest ones, will manifest in December 2023. If you're not working on your own stuff, if you've kind of wavered from your goals, this is where the universe steps in and kind of course corrects you, puts you on a detour by blocking something that you want. That's when you have to say to yourself, is this something I need to fight for, or is this just the universe telling me this is not the right thing? I need to go focus on something else. And that, of course, is you're going to know what the difference is because you deep down have been thinking the same thing. So it's very important that you stay focused on your goals this year because there is a lot of distracting energy around you. But if you are distracted, if you are just kind of wandering, that course correction's coming in December 2023. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, this is one of your strongest areas this year. You are very likely to meet someone new for a love relationship. This is an intimate relationship, one that can take you towards living together, getting engaged, getting married. So this is, if you're looking for love, this is the person you've been looking for. Now, it does say that you are going to get quite a few different choices. So if you are struggling with the first one, don't hang on. Don't say, I'm just going to wait this person out and waste the year. Instead, let go. If that person then runs after you, that's great. But you may want to then see and check and see if somebody might be better out there. And this is also because it's your opposition year, you do have to do the extra mile to get that initial notice. And that is that even though this is a strong area, you have to put your pictures up on the profile. You have to tweak your profile every once in a while. You have to tell friends and family you want to meet someone. You have to go that extra mile. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, it's interesting because your relationship looks generally strong. However, it's the small little nitpicky things that are causing the unhappiness. And that is, that your partner puts the TV on a little too loud or doesn't, take their dishes to the sink or something like that. It's the tiny things that could cause the unhappiness. So work out those things. Instead of letting something build inside of you until you're ready to crow from the rooftops, instead say, you know what, could you do such and such? And see what kind of, adjustments you can make, maybe even in your environment, to make it easier for you both to do things so you're not irritating each other. But generally, we're seeing good relationships throughout the year. It's just these little blips that I'm seeing that is causing the irritation. Now, when it comes to friendships, you do show there's quite a bit of energy for friendships. Again, I think the irritation that you're feeling is that you have to do more than you usually do to gather friends to you. That is that you have to make the calls, and maybe all the calls. Maybe they're never initiating calls because they're busy, but once they hear your voice, they can't wait to see you, and everything goes off without a hitch. So it is taking a little extra step, and that gets you what you want. As the same with meeting new friends. You have an opportunity to meet new friends, especially through existing avenues. And so that is at your current gym, in the groups you already belong to, in the places you already go to. You can meet new people. But you watch out for that little bit where you're waiting for them to come to you, because that's not going to happen this year. Now, when it comes to money from traditional investments or money from your business, You do show a lot of activity in this area, but it looks like most of the profits are coming outside of this period. That means the year. So I think you're making about the same as usual, maybe slightly more, but you are building on something that's going to bring you much more in the future. And so that's where maybe you're taking most of your profits and pouring it back into the business or back into investments. You're not showing this really like happy-go-lucky lifestyle. You're actually, as you get towards the end of the year, you're downright frugal, which, that's for Rooster, that's something. So this is, as you put money to work for you and as you really consider this category, you can do well. But it does take a little bit of scrimping and saving for you to accumulate the money you want to accumulate. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, you can get a raise, you can get some of the benefits, but there are going to be some strings attached. And these strings are fairly minor, but if you let that idea stop you, then you're going to just be making about the same as usual. So this would be something like you can get a raise, but you have to go into the office 1 or 2 days a week. Or you can get the raise, but you're going to have to manage a slightly larger team or take on this project that's a little odious. So there's always going to be a tit for tat this year where you have to do a little bit extra to earn the raise, even though you really deserve it. So this, even when you move on to another company, if that's what you're choosing to do, you're still finding the same thing where they say, well, okay, well, we'll give you a little bit and then we'll have a review in 3 months and see if you should get a little bit more. And this includes if you're getting stock options that they're not getting vested in 2023, they would get vested in a future year. And so again, the big payday is outside this 1 year period. Okay, dog, you have a very fun and exciting year coming up because this is a rabbit year. And so there's lots to chase. There's lots to go after. And so as long as you can stay lighthearted and feel like this is all in fun, looking at life with this kind of sense of curiosity and adventure, you're going to do really well. If you think that this is all like, oh, I have to keep the rabbits out of the garden, and so I'm constantly working, that's a way that you could look at this, but that's not as beneficial to you. So consider that if each of these little rabbits that are going to be in the world is a friendship opportunity, a love relationship opportunity, a job opportunity, money opportunity, this is where you can say, okay, this is the rabbit I'm going for, and then you go for it. And if you miss that one, then there's 100 more to choose from. So the biggest issue that you have this year is there are so many distractions, and that is because there are going to be so many opportunities. You may find that even in the first month that you have 20 new things that you want to do, rather than just being focused on 1, 2, or 3 things. So you do want to watch out for distractions, especially not distractions that are not profitable to you. And I don't mean just money profits, but in helping your love relationships and helping your friendships, don't get so distracted, so much on the little things that you are missing out on the things that are more important in your life. When we look at where the big opportunities are and the challenges, that's going to be the month of October. So that means if you are really working towards goals, your biggest opportunities come then. Those are the things you've been looking for. But if you are off track, this is where the trouble happens and the universe steps in and says, nope, you're going the wrong direction. And so you will find that a goal you have is blocked, or something you thought you were going to get, you don't get. And that's just the universe saying, you're going to do a course correction. You should be going a different direction. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, you have an extraordinary year. This is a very strong energy for you. You can meet new people. You can meet someone you're very compatible with, someone who is a friend as well as a lover, someone that you want to move the relationship forward with. So this is a great time for you to be out there. So let go of your cynicism, let go of the past hurts, and just get out there again with a sense of adventure and curiosity, rather than trying to hold on to the first person you meet and make sure that they're the one. meet lots of people and move forward until someone says, no, stop, you're the one for me. And you say, okay, I'll choose you. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, it's a slightly more challenging because there's a lot focused here on you making yourself better in some way. So you look like you are, maybe getting your health in order, taking care of your physical body more, taking more responsibility for, your life, getting bills paid on time, maybe getting a house or doing investing, saving for retirement. So you're quite focused on that. And if your partner's on board with it, then everything's great. But if your partner very much wants you to stay the way you were, you're going to have some trouble. And that's where, because you're moving forward and you're growing and they're not, that there's going to be this little stretching, especially towards the end of the year, that could snap. And so you want to have very open discussions with your partner about where you're heading in your life, why you're making changes in your life. Suddenly you're not sitting on the sofa with them all night eating ice cream, and they may say, why? And you say, because you want to go for a walk, and maybe you guys could walk together. So I think that you're heading in the right direction with this, but unless your partner wants to go with you, there could be some cracks in your relationship. Now, when it comes to friendships, there are lots of friends that you can meet, but you're not necessarily in the places where you're going to meet them. And that is, maybe you're spending too much time at home. Maybe you are not in groups and organizations or going out and being social. And so it's pretty easy to remedy, but your inclination is to not do that. Like, you seem so focused on your goals, maybe of getting in shape, that you're not really noticing the other people in the gym. Or you have your circle of friends and you're focusing a lot of time on them, but you're not really meeting their friends. And so be aware that that's going to take a little bit more effort if you want to expand your circle of friends. Now, when it comes to traditional investments or money from your business, you're more putting things in automatic pilot more than anything. And from an investment standpoint, this can be really good. You're kind of doing a set it and forget it, and that's something long-term investors do. But you want to make sure that you are peeking at it every once in a while to make sure that the brokerage company's not raising a bunch of fees on you, that things maybe looking at where you should diversify a little bit more, but you do look like you're so busy with other areas, especially personal growth, that you are more saying that this will be an area to pay attention to later. Now, when it comes to your business, you do have to remember that your customers, even your really good customers, might need a little bit of hand-holding, a little bit of TLC. That's, again, where I'm seeing you not paying so much attention, and that is keeping earnings in these areas kind of flat. So I do think this will pay off in the long run. I think that as you go forward, you'll find some better years. But this one, if you pay attention to it, you can do better, but your inclination this year will be just to set it and forget it. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so this is money from a paycheck, you show that, again, it's pretty steady. It is not showing this huge bump up, but some small incremental changes, but they're kind of just keeping up with inflation or maybe even just falling slightly behind. The only way to be looking at some big jump would be to change careers. You do have some opportunities in this area, but again, I'm not seeing that as a super strong priority for you, because if you stay where you are, you know the job, and that gives you the most time to work on other things. And then it could include a side business, which is not yet profitable this year, but could be really profitable in future years. So the energy here is interesting because you are more at a place where you're growing personally, getting stronger relationships, etc., and you're allowing the money things to just kind of take care of themselves. Okay, Pig, you guys are up for a very happy year because rabbit energy is very, very harmonious with you. You and the rabbit can share the same territory without competing for food. You're not going to fight with each other. You can coexist. And so that means you are very in line with the energies that are coming up. you're highly intuitive, and this is an intuitive year. And so the things that are needed and the changes you need to make, you will know ahead of time. You will gravitate towards the right person that you need to meet. You will find the right opportunity. And so it's a year where you can kind of coast. If you instead, though, stop coasting and put some effort in, you can do some great things. But if you just coast, you also could have a very good year. Now, where we see the biggest opportunities and maybe the challenges is in August. So if you are planting some seeds, if you are getting something together, whether that be a relationship or business, the biggest opportunities that you're going to find will come in August. But if you're off track, if you are slipping back into old habits, if you are very distracted and not paying attention to your life, this is where the universe will step in and block something that you think you should get, or block a way forward to cause you to pay attention to your life. So that's where the challenges could come in. So if you are really considering, what you should be doing and where you want to be heading in life, you're going to be fine. But if you are drifting, this is where the universe steps in to put your boat going in the right direction. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, it's interesting because it's almost that you need to take kind of a spiritual step first, and that might be figuring out why you haven't met the person, what you're doing to stand in the way, how you can shift that energy on an internal level, and then the person appears before you. So this is much less about the numbers game or, chasing someone. This is more you saying, what am I doing that is blocking it? So this is self-reflection and looking at the little things you do that cause others to not approach you or not connect with you. It's also a little bit about why you go for people who are not available. Is that a safer thing for you to do? So we see love relationships as quite possible, but it starts with some inner work. When we look at existing love relationships, what's going to be important is that you two get to spend some quality time alone. You look like you're very busy, going in different directions, always maybe helping kids or family members. Maybe you're even in different locations, and that can make it really tough. So this is about coming together and having distraction-free time, not just sitting and watching TV together, but maybe sitting at a restaurant table so you can have a conversation without your phones on, without all of that. It's just kind of breaking the distraction habit so that you can look at each other and say, what do you need? And be there for each other. So that's where your strongest energy for relationships comes about, is when you set down the distractions and pay attention to your partner. Now, when it comes to friendships, you have a lot of opportunities to meet people. You have a very much expanding audience. To find close friends is going to take a little bit of work because your schedules might not match up, or you might live in different cities or things like that. But to expand your general acquaintances and other helpful people, you can do quite a lot. Now, this is really interesting because sometimes you really gravitate towards people you know well, rather than people who just know your work or know you because you're part of an organization they're part of. So this is a little bit of a shift for you. But what we see is great potential for expanding the number of people who you may start to think about calling on for dinner or a ride to the airport or something like that. So expanding group of friends, but they're staying in that kind of acquaintance zone until you take some action. Now, when it comes to traditional investments or money from your business, it looks like you are kind of setting things aside and letting somebody else handle it. And sometimes that can be good, because if you're a person who gets in there and starts, trying this and that can get very expensive. But if this is also something where you don't want to completely disengage from it, where somebody else is maybe doesn't have your best interests in mind. Maybe they're looking at their own commission, etc. So this is if you're bringing in management for your business, you do still want to keep an eye on them. You can't be completely hands off. Same with your investments. Open your statements. Ask your broker why they're choosing these investments, and then you're going to do much better. But mostly what I'm seeing is there is a very strong desire for you to just say, yep, somebody else can do it. And that gives you about the same as usual. Now, when it comes to money derived from your career, so like a paycheck, there is money there for you, but it looks like the more beneficial thing would be to get more perks. That is, like better insurance or, working at home, more flexible schedule, more vacation time. I think that you're probably going to trade that in lieu of money because that will give you then the time to go do the things you want. So this is where the benefits come. And I should say overall with money, you show luck this year. You have luck. And sometimes luck is wonderful, but sometimes luck means that you don't really go for it because you find that you have just enough that you're short $20 for rent, you reach in your pocket, oh, I just found $20. And therefore you don't have to do the extra because you're more protected. Now, in protected years, you can benefit by working on other things, focusing on improving your skills, improving your relationships with people you work with, honing your message. There's lots of different things that will pay off in future years. But the thing now is to not just say, oh, I'm lucky, and so therefore I'm going to have enough, because you do show making about the same as you have in the past. But it'd be more important to say, how can I take this luck and apply a little bit of effort to it and make something really happen? And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe and stay tuned because LaRue wants to say hi.